What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the podcast. Hope you're all doing well. I am your host, Justin Harold, and with me, as always, my co-host, Adam Isa. This is the Good Games Podcast, episode 14. I have been keeping track. I haven't been saying the number out loud, but I have been keeping track. So we're on 14, and we got a lot of video game news to keep up or catch up on. So we're going to talk about the Sony State of Play, the Pokemon Direct, the Alien Fireteam game, and a rumor for the Nintendo Switch Pro, and also Elden Ring
just
video
a
leaks.
dabble of
Just a
from
little
soft,
dabble.
just a little sprinkling.
Little dabble. So,
Yeah.
but we got a lot to
Dip our
catch
toes
up
in.
on. Adam's kind of a little
Throats.
under the weather.
I'm dying. I think. Viewers, we're doing a giveaway. Somebody's gonna take my spot on the podcast. Whoever please comment. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, my throat. I don't know what's wrong with it. Streaming probably didn't help, but oh well.
a lot of screaming at people in Smash,
Dude.
So
I don't want to talk about it.
Well,
they do not stop. All they do is cause me the most immense amount of pain they can. But yeah,
I know one thing that won't cause you an immense amount of pain, or maybe it will. But talking about the Sony State of Play,
it causes me an immense amount of pain.
Yeah, let's talk about first what was announced at that.
How about we talk about what wasn't? No, I'm kidding.
No, I think we should do that, but after we talk about what was announced.
What was announced first?
So just seriously, just a small amount of stuff that was announced. Obviously, we got another Deathloop trailer. Something that
was real quick. Was anything announced, or was it all just stuff that we had already? There was like one or two things. Everything else we had just already seen.
Two things. The big one at the end, which I feel like we should just keep quiet on that for right now.
Okay. Yeah.
And then there is one game that I think we have not seen, like a small indie game that we have not seen.
Sifu.
Yes.
Sifu. Yeah. That game looks sick as fuck.
Yeah, it does. I really enjoyed that one for sure.
Yeah.
But
all right, continue. Sorry.
No. We're all right. So Deathloop, a game that I haven't really been completely bought in on, gave us another trailer. I feel like we've gotten multiple trailers of this game. What do you think is like the whole reasoning behind them just really pushing this game for PlayStation in general?
They paid a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
They paid a lot of they must have given Bethesda quite a pretty penny to get Deathloop and Ghostwire on PlayStation exclusively, especially since this Microsoft deal's been in the works for a while, so they probably knew and they still went through and got that cash. So right. Also there was a trailer after the State of Play as well that sort of like explained more thoroughly what the actual core game is.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I thought the State of Play trailer was amazing. They had a song, like a very James Bond song called Deja Vu. It was sick. That was probably that and another game coming up, which we'll talk about, were the highlights for me. Absolutely. But yeah, Deathloop still looks amazing. Still really glad it's coming out here soon.
I'm buying more and more into it. Yeah. I got to see some dual wielding of pistols. I'm always a big fan of that for some reason. But it looks good. I'm still like not completely. Maybe I need to watch that video because I didn't even know that dropped after the State of Play.
Yeah, it's like a little quick, like, oh, this is what you'll be doing. I'm still, I'm not confused, but I'm still curious as to what exactly the female assassin's role is and how she works in the game and how multiplayer works, because I think you have to kill her to beat the game. So I think she's in the game anyway, but is it a friend can then decide to take over and do it or what? So I'm very interested to see what sort of happens there. And I think if that is done well, that will take off virally on the internet as something that a lot of, and I know this is so weird and cynical to do, but like content creators are always looking for that thing, and we're at the point where a lot of people are catering towards content creators, because if you cater towards a content creator, your game gets more views, which gets more plays, blah blah blah, which means more money, blah 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 blah. I'm very fascinated to see if that might take over the Twitch world a bit for just like a little bit, because it definitely could. It's the kind of thing that definitely is capable of doing so. So
Right. Yeah. So then moving on, we got first gameplay of Five Nights at Freddy's security breach reveal. It
it's for
is,
somebody, not
yeah,
me.
not me. Yeah, I was in the same boat with you there.
uh,
Moving on, Hyper Light Drifter. I believe this is the game that you've been or I'm sorry,
no,
Hyper Light
yeah,
Drifter
Solar Ash.
developer
Yeah,
Solar Ash.
Heart Machines, Solar Ash.
Yeah.
This was the other highlight for me. This thing looks exquisite.
It looks
Wow.
very good. I'm just worried about the gameplay.
No,
I
I'm
like the
not at
fast
all.
I like the fast pace of it. But like the quote unquote boss battle that was happening like didn't impress me all that much. But
Feels very Shadow of the Colossus in like the best way to me. I don't know, the way the movement like looked so smooth that I am like I'm already on board. Like the skating, the character's
I really
weight
like
looked
that.
really nice. Yeah, like all that looked so impressive that I'm in. Also, yeah, the art style is bonkers. But I am curious to see what kind of depth they can bring to it. I mean, Hyper Light Drifter, they have all my faith. Like these guys are brilliant. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, one of those games that we had already seen. I don't know that we saw gameplay from it before, but
Yeah,
we
no,
did
just
see the trailer.
basically the opening of the trailer for this one was the full trailer for the last one, if that makes sense. And then
Yeah,
we got sort of an extended gameplay demo.
right. Then we got a game that I was like, it's a smaller game, Sifu, that I wasn't really, expecting. I was expecting like smaller games to be
Yeah.
announced here for sure, but this one was the one that kind of really popped out at me the most. And it's kind of like it's one of what is the game Hades? What is Hades like?
It's a roguelike.
Yeah, I think it's somewhat
Yeah.
like a roguelike where you die and your character, resets and everything. They say
And
here
ages,
each time
it looks
the
like.
player character dies, they're revived slightly older and more skilled, which I
That's
thought
so
was
fucking cool.
yeah, I thought it was really cool. I thought that by the end of it, he's like a full-on like grandmaster looking dude. It was pretty sick. But I
Yeah.
wonder like what the consequence, like if it just like continues to let you like, just keep getting older, or and like if that takes like, stamina away from you, or how that like
Yeah.
plays into the actual, because it says you get more skilled, but like, you get older. I feel like you also like slightly, I don't know, maybe they work something in there where like you
Yeah, like
slightly,
lower health or
right. Yeah. So,
looks
but that was
really
one of the cool little announcements that we got that I enjoyed.
yeah.
Um, then we got something that we saw at the Nintendo Direct, the dodgeball game Knockout City.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know why this game's getting pushed. It
Because
looks
it's
like
EA.
garbage.
I will say it looks better than Rocket Arena. Like the showing at the Sony thing was much, much better than the showing at the Switch thing. The trailer at the Switch thing was bad. Here I was like, okay, I could see how this could be fun for a few hours with my friends, but
Maybe I just thought it looked dumb, but it is what it is. Then we got Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time, PS5 version. Not much to say there. Oddworld, Soulstorm.
this is important.
Let's see what you got to say about it.
I mean, it's just like Sony is very much doing this thing where they're like, we know this game isn't going to sell, so we're just going to give it to you, which is hilarious because this is going to be on PS Plus the month it comes out. So
Okay.
it's and it was the same with All Stars, Destruction All Stars, and I'm very curious to see what this sort of, especially with them closing their studios in Japan for financial whatever.
Mhm.
I'm very curious to see if this either A means they're going to churn out more of this stuff and use it to push PS Plus, or B gonna shy away from these altogether and only make their giant AAA games. I'm interested in what this is trending towards and what this means.
Trending towards either the PlayStation version of Xbox Game Pass,
Yeah,
or them going the complete other route, which I think would probably be a bad move if they did that. I mean, a bad move in the way of like, you want to be able to pitch the idea of like, oh, play free games, but also the other side of it is, hey, we make these amazing AAA games, and
yeah,
we're going to spend more money and time on those instead of that. So take it how you will. I think that's what the vast majority of PlayStation owners only have the PlayStation 4. So
Yeah, 100%. And I
yeah,
think a diverse portfolio is important. So let's hope
agreed.
that it's not them shifting their focus away from that kind of game, the smaller games.
Right. Then we got to look at Returnal. I'm really not bought on this game. I feel like it's supposed to be like one of the bigger, next gen games that's supposed to be coming out.
I mean, it's the
And
only new next gen game, period, so far.
right. Well,
Because I mean, the
if you
Demon
don't
Souls
count
doesn't count.
Miles Morales
It
PS5
came out on
version now.
PS4.
Mm.
Like this, and I don't even. I'm pretty sure this is only coming out on PS5. But like I don't consider Demon Soul. I guess it's on PS5, but like this is one of the. This is like the first new.
Oh, I get what you're saying. It's
Yeah,
exclusive to PS5. Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
PS5 game. So
Sorry.
I'm curious to see what's gonna go on. It looks. I don't know. Visually is my big thing. It looks so cluttered. That's my only thing. But
The gameplay again does not look very appealing. And then we got a little game, that we've seen already, Kena, Bridge of the Spirits or Bridge of Spirits. Just got got a release date for it, August 24th for the PS4
long
and
trailer.
PS5. Um, I picked this in my bracket for games, so it looked very good. I'm very happy with it. Nothing really changed. Nothing
Yeah,
really new was shown. So not
I'm
too much to
interested.
talk about
I'm
there.
interested to see what it plays like, but it's
Hmm.
very gorgeous.
Right. Absolutely. Very small team working on that game.
That
Very
was my
small.
big fear. I think they worked on movies. They worked at
Hmm.
Pixar. So I'm very curious to see and feel how it plays. That's my only kind of reservation in the sense that like this could maybe be like, oh, are these people making a first time game? So I hope it doesn't come off like that, and I hope it just is like, wow, this is gorgeous and great to play and all
Right.
that. So we'll see.
And then ending it all, the big final surprise at the end of the showcase, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade announced for PS5. What was your thought for that?
I think it's kind of stupid.
Really?
Well, I mean, Intergrade is a objectively terrible name. Number one.
Hmm.
Number two, like I don't know. Like I guess getting DLC is cool, but I would prefer if it was just like
Part two.
part two. Yeah, I don't know why we're getting Yuffie DLC this
Hmm.
early and why Yuffie's in Midgard and all these things, and it's like, all right, I guess I'm there. Obviously, I'm gonna play it
Right.
the day and date probably like 3 times, but like I'm glad that they're not charging for the PS5 version if you owned the PS4 version,
Hmm.
even though they're now giving away the PS4 version and saying that that version cannot be upgraded, which is stupid. Uh, I don't know if you know, they're giving away the PS4 version on PS Plus this month,
Hmm.
and then they're saying, yeah, but this specific version cannot be upgraded to the PS5 for free. So
Mm.
okay, um, but I
But
mean,
if you own the game already,
yeah, it
it's
upgrades to PS5 for
okay.
free. Yeah, but you have to buy the Yuffie DLC,
Yeah.
and they haven't told us how much that costs. I'm curious. I'll play it. Obviously, it'll be like an interesting look. I think it's gonna take place. I know exactly when it's gonna take place. It's gonna take place right when Cloud is with Aerith.
Right.
We see Tifa and Barrett be like, "We lost Cloud," and it's daytime, and the city's obviously not destroyed.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, all in all, I'm like on it. I'm excited. I'll play more Final Fantasy VII. I just didn't. I wasn't expecting it, and I don't know if this is what I wanted. I want to see more of what was going on. I'm excited for the new character, whatever his name is.
Hmm.
Um,
I'll have to find that again.
yeah,
I'm on the opposite side. Obviously, I'm a huge Final Fantasy VII remake fan, and so this is just more of that for me. Obviously, I wasn't expecting this either. If anything, I was
yeah,
expecting Final Fantasy VII remake Part Two news.
yeah.
Which to also just throw it in there. So the director or the head, who was it?
Nomura.
Yeah, he
Or
said he's taking like a step away from it, from the Final Fantasy VII Remake.
oh
I think he said he's going to guide it, but not. I'll have to find the article because I just have this pulled up on IGN right now, so it doesn't
yeah,
have the full thing. But there was something about like him taking like a back seat of some
yeah,
sort, and
not
he's gonna.
directing Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, focusing on other
Yeah.
projects. Directorship is falling solely to Naoki Hamaguchi as Nomura steps back to focus on unprecedented number of projects. So he's making Kingdom Hearts while the other
Mhm.
guy is making Final Fantasy Remake Part 2.
Yeah. So I wonder for Final Fantasy, because in general, what is it? You have 16. That's
16 is the next installment, yeah.
right, which is supposed to come out. But then didn't you draft Final Fantasy 15 DLC?
I drafted 14 DLC and
14
Endbringer
DLC.
and Walker.
Yeah. So there's
And
just like
that
a lot
is
of.
coming out for sure.
Okay. But
Um
what are your feelings for 16 now with
uh
this?
not good.
Not good. Well, let's talk about the stuff that wasn't announced here and kind of what we're feeling for,
And
release
that
dates
can
and
kind of,
stuff.
yeah, that could kind of fall into it in the sense that like Final Fantasy 16, I was kind of expecting at the end of the year. I don't know, because the way they were talking about it, they said scenario development was done, they said all this stuff was ready. But ultimately, um the fact that we're getting this remake soon,
Hmm.
like pretty soon actually. Like when is Intergrade coming out?
Intergrade
Um
is June 10th.
June 10th. So yeah, June 10th, and then 14 DLC is coming out uh at the end of the year. They said at the end of the year, which is usually when it comes out. I don't know where you fit a giant game like 16, especially when your core audience is going to spend a lot of time in that MMO and you do not want to split them,
Mm.
because they're very committed to that MMO. Um, yeah, I don't think it's coming out this year, unfortunately. And that was one game that was missing.
Right. Then you have Horizon Forbidden West, which, is was announced in the big PlayStation event from last year with the
Yeah,
PS5 with Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man Miles Morales. Didn't we still haven't got gameplay for that game yet.
no,
Um no certain release date, supposed to come out
like
in.
three. Well, so like what happened was in the trailers for the PS5 before it came out, they said it was expected to launch in the first half, like in the bottom line, you know? That's how
Mhm.
we got a bunch of release dates. And then like when they announced the Ratchet, right? And that was June 11th.
Yes, I believe
Um
so. I believe it's in June.
and that was supposed to be first part of the year, so earlier. I think all these games are just getting delayed because they said Horizon was coming in the first half of the year and then or expected to come, and then like 3 days before the state of play, um
June 10th for Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, and June 11th for Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart.
there you go. And then I think it was Herman Hulst said on in an interview that Horizon was not coming out until the second half of the year,
Hmm.
like a couple of days before, and then we just didn't even see it. So
Right.
like,
Mix that along with No God of War
yeah,
Ragnarok.
I don't
Mix
think it's
that with Cory Barlog going to Twitter and
yeah, it's
saying the
coming
game will
when it's
be,
ready.
yeah, when it's ready. Which of course is, we've learned from the past year. Obviously, we've learned that games have been slowly being released in a fashion that does not exude confidence, of just putting out a release date and just saying, hey, here's the game.
Yeah,
So obviously happy about that. I honestly, with my take on Cyberpunk and everything, and seeing all the negative response to it and everything, I'm
yeah,
so happy that people are taking that route of, we're not going to put a release date. So much credit to, I just want to put it out there, like Halo Infinite, like they a game that was supposed to be the flagship for Xbox Series X and S.
yeah.
They knew that they needed the time and they've taken it, and we don't have a release date for that. Hopefully we will get it in 2021, but no release date for Ragnarok. And then for me, just another one, I don't know that you were expecting anything, but Factions for The Last of Us Part 2.
I wasn't expecting anything at this, but I am curious as we have not seen anything from it,
Right.
like we've seen nothing, which is really shocking to me.
Yeah.
Um,
But all in all, were you expecting anything else? I like threw it out there like on the like super super off chance like Spider-Man 2, but like I was just like that's like just
yeah,
complete like you don't get anything from anything and it's like oh Spider-Man like
I was really expecting. I mean, Spider-Man. I think that's like an E3 thing, if you know what I mean.
mhm.
But like, I was really expecting to see Horizon at
I was
least.
too.
I was expecting to see Horizon and maybe a small trailer for God of War. But like, yeah, I think my thing with God of War is, yeah, take as much time as you want. I really wish they hadn't said 2021 then. You know what I mean? Because that's sort of like they were just doing it to sell the console.
Yeah.
I think ultimately, like, and
Mhm.
that's shitty to be like, oh, get the PS5 so you can play God of War whenever it comes out on the PS5 in 2021. And then they're like, no, it's not coming out. And that ultimately to me is like, okay, well then just don't tell. Like, I'm fine, take all the time you need, but don't tell us
Right.
that it's coming at this time. This was even like the same for.
Something the industry is just like
Oh
learning at this
yeah,
point. It's just like we need to stop just like putting the time or like just like
An-
putting a date out there for the sake of putting a date out there. But like
announce
you
the
said,
game. In,
PlayStation 5, the whole point of, trying to make sales and everything.
yeah,
But so
announce the
just
game when it's 4 months out. Like that's what you need to do. Like, because ultimately the way that they've been doing it, or at least not announce the game, announce the release date when you're 4 months out, because like ultimately it's just like frustrating. You know what I
yeah.
mean? It's frustrating to know that the game's coming this year or supposed to be coming this year, not seeing anything, and then everybody slowly walking it back. It's like, well, you never had to walk it back if you didn't do this in the first place, and that's ultimately where I'm like, okay, we can all do better here. We don't have to try. Like, people are gonna buy the PS5 anyway.
Right.
You don't have to give a fake date for God of War to do that. So yeah, but yeah, disappointed a bit. There was some cool stuff, but still a little disappointed by what happened in general.
Lots of hype. Another
Yeah.
game with a lot of hype that we don't know the exact release date about. And I know this is something that maybe you wanted to talk a little bit later, but I feel like it lines up right in the pocket of what we're talking about. Elden Ring. This
Yes.
past week or the week before, there was news that no, I think it was this week. I think it
Yeah, it
was
was
early
this
this
week. It
week.
was like 3 days ago.
Yeah, Monday or something like that.
Yeah.
There were new clips of gameplay trailer for Elden Ring that were circulating. Um, Adam, this is one of your games that you have picked. What are your thoughts about those clips and what it could mean for a possible Elden Ring launch?
So from what I understand, that trailer is old, like a year or two old, which is really good because that looked. I mean, some of the textures look unfinished, but it looked complete-ish.
Mhm.
Um, I honestly do think this game is coming out. I think where there's smoke, there's fire, if that makes sense. And the amount of people who have been talking about it and rumors and leaks and blah 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 blah. Yeah, people are just stir crazy and they want the new FromSoft game. But I also legitimately believe that this game will come out this year, and I'm thinking like later in the year. But I do think it's going to come out this year and it's going to be a big deal. I think they are doing what I would prefer, in the sense that they're not going to show us a ton. Like, they told us it existed,
Right.
which is cool. I would like to know that it exists, but they're not going to show us a ton until it's like three or 4 months out from release. And I think that's the best. And I think they're operating in that COVID mindset where it's like, this could get delayed if something happens. So we're just going to chill, make the game when it's ready. We'll bring it out and then we'll make sure it's not going to be delayed. So I honestly think it's going to happen. I think there was a leaker. One of the people who leaked the trailer from China was like, trust Miyazaki, it's coming out this year. He said a few other things that I can't quite specifically remember, but I'm very, very interested to see what happens. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited. At least one big giant game that's supposed to come out this year. It might come out this year.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just interesting that they've handled it a lot better than again, I'll throw it back to Cyberpunk, not kind of crumbling under the weight of excitement and just pure expectation of how big this game is going to be and everything. So another kind of like pat on the back for those guys over there.
I
But
think. Oh, sorry. Continue.
no. I was going to
I think
transition.
it's a really it's interesting to look at how a company like FromSoft versus how a company like CD Projekt Red does handle their games, because it's a very interesting show of like that sort of East versus West, right? Where they've put their heads down and they're just making the game. Not to say any way is better, but like they're put their heads down, they're making the game. They'll show us when it's ready, and then that's it. And that's what FromSoft always does, right? And their games are never bad. Uh, you know, recent ones. There's definitely some bad FromSoft games, but
Mhm.
their games are not bad, and they, for the most part, deliver. And then there, you look at something like Cyberpunk, where it's a lot of promises, and this is sort of like less about development and more about marketing.
Right.
The way that Western media markets, it's hype, it's hype, it's hype. Oh, it's the best thing. It's going to change your life. Blah 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 blah. Right, and that is like I think the big key difference is like you cannot be disappointed. Well, you can be, but like they don't ever overpromise,
Right.
so they'll deliver on their intended promise, because oh, it's gonna be open world Dark Souls. Okay, it's open world Dark Souls. Like that's the key goal, and I think some of the Western publishers specifically could learn from this sort of like they could look to what some Japanese publishers do and see that maybe it's better to not. I think Bethesda is basically the only one who has, but even they can be victim of this. Maybe not overpromise and underdeliver. Bethesda Big does that, but they're better at the timing, But
Yeah.
so we'll see. It's just I think it's interesting to look. There's always these interesting dichotomies between these kinds of gaming giants.
Ideologies and stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I fully agree. Moving on to some, smaller news that's been taking place. So 2 days ago, Aliens Fireteam was announced. Also today, though, apparently an exclusive 25 minutes of gameplay on IGN that I have not yet
Oh,
seen myself. But Adam, I know you wanted to talk about this a little bit because you are a big
I
Aliens fan.
Alien is my favorite movie of all time, and if you know anything about me, I watch a lot of movies. Like
Also, Fortnite skins for Alien.
and I have the Alien Fortnite skin, and I spent but like legitimately, like I love Alien. I love the universe. I think it's brilliant. And I'm sort of you just said that, and I'm sort of like looking at this gameplay as we talk. From even the trailer, this was sort of the game that I wanted.
Okay.
Like Colonial Marines, if it had turned out right, would have been the game I wanted. I do want this sort of like, yo, we're three or four guys or girls. We're 3 or 4 Colonial Marines, and we're just fucking up the aliens. We're trying to survive. It's brutal. It's dangerous. Like it has the atmosphere. Um, and like that's sort of what I want, and this looks to like literally be that. Like I don't need you to reinvent the wheel, I just need the aliens game. And that's like looking to be what it is, like a good, and in a time when we haven't had a lot of good co-op shooters recently. um I'm really really rooting for this one in like a way that I root for very few games, and I'm watching it right now, some of the stuff, and it looks pretty clean. Actually.
It actually looks very, very like, honestly, I probably get scared in this game.
Yeah,
Low
like
key. If we didn't have flashlights, I'd probably be low key really scared.
hopefully there's what's it called? Hopefully there is like some more horror elements from the first Alien, and like, the lights turned off, and we get that moment where like we look at the motion sensor and it's like 9 million red triangles coming at us, and we can only see in front of our faces. Like I really want that, but even just a cool shooter set in the universe, I'm down for. And this looks to be that. So I'm really, really excited for this. It's not, again, like I said, it's not, I don't need it to reinvent the wheel. It's not going to reinvent the wheel. But as long as it's good, I will invest several dozen hours, into playing this thing, because I really love aliens, and That's
Wow.
all, you know.
I'm watching the trailer right now, or not the trailer,
Yeah, some of the
the 25
gameplay.
minutes. I'm
Yeah,
at 12 minutes right now. I just
yeah,
watched like one of the bigger aliens like pounce on top of one of the players and then jump into like a vent and escape.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's sick. Like
yeah.
that, and like you're right. It's kind of like my thing with Outriders. Is like I keep really hoping for a game like a co-op multiplayer game to really like grab me, and like one of my friends like you and
Yeah.
maybe someone else, and just kind of go and hammer away at it for a couple hours each night and really just enjoy it. But I mean, Outriders still gotta get the demo
Still got to
and
see it.
play.
I've heard mixed
Yeah,
things, but
absolutely, same
I'm
here.
very interested.
But
I
this looks
mean,
very clean. Like
yeah,
this
it
looks
looks
super
really nice.
clean.
Much nicer than I thought it was, especially because it was like kind of announced in a like a really, oh, it's coming out way. And my biggest thing, right? The biggest thing that I have with these games is hopefully the AI is really good. Because if you don't make the AI good, and it kind of defeats a lot of the purpose of what Alien is, in the sense that like these things are really smart and they're like really brutal, right? And yeah, the Colonial Marines are outfitted, but like, these things could kill you one on one, even if you mess up for a second. So I hope that. The other thing is, I'm really excited that they said there's going to be new kinds of xenomorph, and I'm seeing some of them right now. I'm a big I like just love the lore and the world of Alien as well. So seeing more of that is, for me, worth the price of admission alone, even if the game doesn't end up being all that. So yeah, just excited to see more of this. I mean, I'm watching this thing as we're doing it, and I'm
Yeah,
kind of just in lot. Like I'll be playing this day one for sure.
same here.
Looks cool, and yeah, I'm just I think at least there's some good things happening this year so far. Trying to
Absolutely.
make up for it a bit, I guess.
Welcome back. For sorry
Uh,
about that little break. We're gonna break this up. Actually, I said that me and Adam were gonna talk about the Pokemon event that happened last week for the 25th anniversary, and another piece of Nintendo news that happened. We're gonna break that up into a separate video and go into that right now. But
it's a two-parter, folks.
it's a two-parter. It's gonna be we're gonna have a long discussion about one of the other topics. So, but thank you all for watching and listening. We really do want to hear some of your thoughts on the Sony State of Play, this Aliens Fireteam, is the Elden Ring stuff. What you guys have expectations for 2021 with game releases, and what's been announced and what hasn't received release dates yet. So if you guys could leave comments in the comment section, that'd be great. Leave a like, follow, all that good stuff, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.